Hi, so my name is Amina Ali. This is the SME Solution Series. It is a straight-to-the-point segment of Daily Entrepreneur that focuses on actionable, pragmatic solutions that can be tried, tested, and implemented by SMEs without hassle. So with me in studio today is Schalk van der Merwe, who's a senior consultant at the B-BBEE Chamber. And I'm going to get straight to the point, okay, to the questions. You mentioned that BE has evolved. But what was it before and where are we now?
Well, it's definitely evolving. It's actually what keeps me in business as a consultant, unfortunately, but it does create quite a difficult environment for clients to navigate. So to give you a few examples, on the legal side, it's constantly changing. I don't know if you're aware, but there has been the new legal sector charter gazetted in September. So it's important for clients to keep on top of the legal requirements changing. The other thing that we're seeing is that government is pushing transformation through, boards and certain bodies that sort of govern or regulate an area. So, for example, your ICASA requires a specific BE level in order to get an ICASA license. So it's important for clients to understand that part of it as well. And then probably the most pertinent part is the interpretational changes. Every year, verification agencies get audited by SANAS. SANAS would pick up certain items that they need to change.
Do you want to just maybe elaborate a bit on the SANAS?
Yes, so SANAS is a regulating body for the verification agencies. In order for you to get a SANAS accreditation, you need to go through their compliance status, and every year they come and do an audit. But throughout this audit, they would pick up certain non-conformancies. And it's up to you to amend those non-conformancies.
Got it.
But you are not necessarily aware until you get to your verification stage.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So it is something to keep on top of, that your audit for 1 year might be completely different for the next year.
That's interesting. So you can't, just because you got it right the first time doesn't mean it's going to...
It is a big misconception in companies. Absolutely, yes.
You have an interesting job, sir. So what are the most common mistakes companies make during the BEE verification process, and how can this be avoided to prevent costly re-audits?
I would probably say the number one thing is a lack of preparation. Okay. Many companies would say, for example, someone would deal with BE. Here's the BE problem, go and get me a BE certificate, without understanding the complex nature of actually going through a BE verification process. So this person is usually, for example, in HR. They know their area, but they don't necessarily know what's happening in the rest of the company. So they now need to run to each different department, go and collect documents, and try to assemble a BE file. So in order to
have the knowledge for it either.
Absolutely.
Got it.
So the first thing you need to do is you need to get buy-in from the rest of the company. It needs to be a company announcement saying, we are doing a BE audit. I need all hands on deck. So I think that the next part is that as soon as you start the process, you want to sort of get it done with, get the on-site done, get the interviews done, and get your BE certificate. But without considering that there's preparation required for each of those processes. So example, for the on-site, you want a file that's 90% complete, because that's your engagement with the verification agency. You sit with them face to face, you have them in your offices, all issues should be resolved on that day. But what many companies do, they want the on-site done so they can show management, listen, we're making progress on this. And then they forget that once that analyst leaves, he's got 20 other clients that he needs to deal with, and you're going to fall back in the queue. So all queries and stuff is only going to get dealt with whenever the analyst has got an opportunity. So have a complete file there when you actually do the verification process.
Okay, wow. That's okay.
It's why I have a job.
I can, but this is definitely something that a lot of people need to be educated on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how can businesses quantify the financial risk of non-compliance and use this information to prioritize their BEE strategy?
Well, I think the financial aspect is a very good selling point to management. Specifically for them that don't necessarily understand the BE process, what you want to talk to is return on investment. So if I'm implementing a BE strategy, I'm asking myself, what do I stand to lose if I'm not a specific level or if I don't have a BE certificate? And what do I stand to gain?
With the ROI, basically.
Exactly. And on the losses side, I mean, this can include your competitors getting more business than you because they have a better BE level, you being excluded for certain tenders because you don't meet certain requirements. And on the flip side, you can get a lot of new business actually with having a better BE certificate than your competitors.
So it's to your advantage, if anything.
Absolutely, yeah. And people don't really consider that it translates directly to a potential income or loss if you don't have the BE level.
Just sidetracking, what exactly would make someone not get a BE certificate?
Well, you're not legally obligated that you have to have a BE certificate.
Okay.
This is a voluntary process. But what government is doing is they are finding avenues to sort of force companies to actually get a BE level. So through, like we spoke about, the regulating bodies, forcing them to get. In order for you to have a good BE scorecard, you need your suppliers to have a good BE scorecard. Their suppliers need to have a good BE scorecard, and that flows throughout the industry.
So either way, you would get stuck somewhere.
Yes, and you're going to feel the pressure somewhere. And the problem with the BE, there's no quick fix to it. You need time to prepare for it. So rather be prepared before the pressure comes than trying to navigate it once the pressure is on you.
What's the quickest time that you've gotten to deal or basically roll out an entire BE certification?
It depends on the company structure.
Okay.
A lot of companies actually have transformational goals in mind and they've already implemented most of it. And that process can take relatively quickly.
Okay.
However, a company that's not considered BE at all, I think the biggest challenge there is to get buy-in from everyone, first of all. Because if you start just needlessly spending, you're going to waste money. It's not going to be sustainable. You're going to run into problems somewhere along the line.
I see.
Another thing to consider is also the verification process itself. Usually we sort of say a month, but it can take up to 2 months, just depending on your preparation, of course.
And less than a month maybe sometimes?
It can happen, but you're letting yourself in for a lot of risk.
Okay.
The data might not be accurate.
Yes.
There's a whole bunch of things that can go wrong.
I hear you. All right. So what key strategic changes should companies consider if their current B-BBEE scores are underperforming?
It's a difficult one because each company is different and each company's got different requirements.
Yes.
So I think there's obviously low-hanging fruits like your enterprise development and supply development and socio. Those are easy things to sort of get done and spend money and get the points, but that's not really what you want to do. You want to align the business to your BE strategy. And I think for me, that's probably the biggest change that you can see in a company is when you start aligning your transformational plan with your organization and get buy-in from everyone. Because what tends to happen is you tend to give responsibility for someone in a specific area of responsibilities, and they tend to focus only on that without liaising or integrating with different areas in the business.
I understand. And on that note, what specific industry knowledge should BE consultants have to provide tailored and effective advice?
I think the most important bit is like the regulating environment that a company deals with. For example, the mining would have a separate mining charter that they need to comply with, and you need to integrate business with that. So, I mean, each industry's got their own requirements and their own challenges. So, for example, if we look at pharmaceutical companies, if you are a pharmaceutical company, you're likely importing a large portion of your stock. Now, on your procurement, you're going to have challenges and you need to have certain strategies in place in order to deal with those strategies.
Yes.
So it's important for a consultant to understand the operating environment, but also the legal environment that a company is operating in.
Okay, so let's take it back a couple of years back, and there's a student out there who's listening to this podcast and decides, but I want to do what Schalk is doing. What should they study? What should they go into? What should they be listening to?
Well, as someone who studied marketing, I don't think there's actually a legal background helps a lot because there's a lot of legal interpretation that you need to go through.
Okay.
So if you are in a legal background, it does help a lot. There is also the course that you can take to become a BE professional that you can do.
Okay.
But the real only way to learn it is by actually doing it.
Practicality.
You can have a lot of knowledge and understanding about how it should be implemented. But the first time you walk into a company and they present you with a challenge that you haven't seen, and by the way, I've been doing this for 13 years, I still see new things. So
Catches you off guard.
Absolutely. So I think it's really the best way to get into this industry is by start doing it. I started from a verification background. It's good to understand how the measurement works of the BE certificate, and then move into consulting from there as you get an understanding about the BE codes.
Got it. Okay. All right. So I hope that those that want to change careers know where to go from now. And so how can leadership teams be held accountable for driving the BE compliance and embedding transformation across the organizations? I know you spoke about transformation.
Yeah, I think the important bit for leadership team is to equip them with the knowledge first before you start measuring them. Like I mentioned, you would just get an assignment, get me a BE certificate, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff that needs to happen and understanding that you need of the industry. Collaboration, absolutely. So I think equip your team with knowledge and then tools as well. Looking at the calculations itself, I think the management and control is about 160 calculations that you have to do. Find the tools that can help you with calculating the scorecard. And then from there on, you can implement things like KPIs and measurables. And I think the key for any company is to not function in silos. When you have a leadership team, equip them with the knowledge, the tools, but then don't keep them to their silos. Have forum meetings, have constant meetings about what's happening with the BE spaces, where you can help each other and where you can integrate one aspect of the business into another. Where
can we find updates on the changes with regards to the BE?
Well, I'm going to do a free plug if you don't mind. But
no problem.
We as the BE Chamber, we have weekly webinars that you can attend.
Oh, amazing. For free?
Yes, for free.
Okay.
So you would just, we talk about the latest sort of regulation BE-wise and around BEE.
Okay.
And then also with the BE Chamber itself, we've got a calculating tool. So if you need to calculate your scorecard, we've got a free tool actually on our website that you can use.
That's amazing. That's lovely.
It just sort of helps you to gauge where you are, and then a more advanced tool if you're interested in that.
Should you need the services, obviously.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because as a consultant, my idea is not to do your BE for you, but to equip you with the tools and the knowledge to actually do your BE yourself.
And you're doing this nationwide?
Yes.
Perfect. Lovely. Thank you.